Hey guys. Ooh. I just want to let y'all know, always remember that this life is not yours. This is not your life to live, okay? You know, you hear people say, this is my life. I want to live it how I want to live it. You only get one life. Yeah, you only get one life to do life right. And I know people may ask, what is doing life right? Doing life right is living for God. So you only get one life to live for God. Don't utilize this one life, your YOLO. You only live once. Don't utilize it to live for self or to live for man, because we're uncontrollable. Our flesh is uncontrollable. So that's why you have to lean on something to control you. So some people lean on the enemy and what the enemy provides, alcohol, weed, drugs, sex, to control them, money. And some people lean on the will of God to control them, what God wants for your life, the knowledge of God, the wisdom of God, the direction of God, to control them. So let's not think that I have one life to live, so I'm going to live it and I'm going to pop bottles and I'm going to have sex with who I want to have sex with. I'm going to drink till I can't drink no more, because you only live once. Yeah, you only live once to get right with God. Only one time. Because once this life is over, once your time has expired and you have to be faced with judgment from God, what are you going to tell God? I was just living my life. He's going to be like, okay, what you were doing and how you were living your life was far from me, so I never knew you. So depart from me. And nobody wants to hear those words, depart from me. I know for sure I don't want to hear those words. So I do what I can in this lifetime to glorify, to magnify God, to do what's pleasing to his eye. It's not just the works that I do, but the manipulation, the changing of my heart, allowing God to renew my heart, renew my mind of all things that represent him and his kingdom, to strip things from my heart and my mind that does not represent him and his kingdom. Because a lot of times we were born into sin, right? So a lot of times our hearts and our minds are a representation of the kingdom of evil, not of God. That's why it's hard for us to forgive. It's hard for us to turn away from evil ways. It's hard for us to turn away from freak ways. It's hard for us to turn away from toxicity, because now we have identified with the kingdom of darkness instead of the kingdom of light. So I just want us to know and remember whose you are and start being a representation of God. Everywhere you go, people should be able to see the light of God that shines in you. People should not be able to see darkness in you. I understand that we all go through things. We all have dark times, but you should know whose you are, so you know this too shall pass. Joy will come in the morning. I may be crying tonight, but joy comes in the morning. Once you recognize and realize whose you are and whose you come from and who has your back, who is steering this ship, a lot of things will no longer bother you anymore, because now you have a peace that transcends all understanding, because you like, God got me, so I'm not even fronting. Like, I'm not stunning it. God got me. So regardless of the fact, people should still be able to see the light in you, because if you still have light in you despite of what you're going through, that's called endurance. That's called endurance. And endurance tests its character. It says it in James. Endurance tests its character. So that means you have good character. So no matter what you go through, your character still remains the same. No matter what I go through, my mind still remains the same. No matter what I go through, my peace still remains the same, because I'm still connected to God. Because a lot of times when we go through things, we disconnect ourselves from God. We no longer attach ourselves to God. And that's why we begin, once we disconnect from God, we're sitting in this idle place, and we have now allowed the enemy to connect to us. Because like I said at the beginning, we have no control over ourselves. We have no control over this flesh. So that's why we lean on the will of God and the direction of God, because he's going to lead us in the right way. Because if we're just on our own, we're always going to mess up. Just how Adam and Eve did in the garden. If you just on your own, you're going to mess up. So the moment that you disconnect from God because you're going through something in life, that is the moment that the enemy will see that you're idle and try to attach to you. Look at what he did to Jesus when Jesus was fasting for 40 days. On the last day, that's when he went up to the mountain. He took Jesus up to the mountain and said, I will give you all of this if you just bow down to me. He got Jesus when he was at his weak point, when there was nothing around him, no one around him, so he thought. But Jesus showed him that I'm still a part of God's kingdom. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's still my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like that, just because I've been fasting and just because I'm apart from him does not mean I'm apart from him, if that makes sense. So when we set ourselves aside from God, the enemy can attach himself to us and then causes for us to lean into drugs, lean into addiction, lean into being mean to others, lean into fornication, lean into things that are not of God because we're going through this tough time. The whole time when we go through tough times, God wants us to lean towards him even more, because in James it says, it's one of my favorite Bible scriptures. It says, consider it a great joy when you go through trials. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but consider it a great joy when you go through trials, because you know trials produces endurance and endurance produces character. So when you go through things, you know that God is producing, and character produces good faith. So when you go through things, you know God is producing good character. He's building your endurance, because then you start to become resilient to issues, because you know God always got you. So once you get that endurance is being able to still be happy, to still be joyful, to still see the good at the end and still keep pushing through the problems. That's endurance. So when you build that endurance, you build that tenacity, that causes for you to build good character, which causes for you to build great faith. Because no matter what, you know, God still got me. So always remember that this life is not mine. God always got me no matter what I go through in this lifetime, and everything he does is for the glory of him. So whether he blesses you, it's for the glory of him. Whether you're going through trials, it's still for the glory of him, because when you go through trials, you're supposed to lean on him, not lean from him. It's all for God, not for us. So when you go through trials, stop thinking like, oh my gosh, why would God do this to me? Why me? Because he's utilizing you to show his glory. Because once you're going through this right now and then you get blessings, people gonna be like, how did she get these blessings? How did she get so much? She was just this. How did she achieve so great? She don't even have the credentials for this. So all you can do at that point is know that God did it for me. All other people can do is witness that had to be nothing but God. She was just down on her luck. He was just down on his luck. How in the matter of this time, or how all of a sudden they got this great grand harvest, it was because of the grace and the will of God. So always remember that. Always lean on God for understanding. Always lean on him to bring you through situations, trials, and storms, because he's the only one that can bring you through situations, trials, and storms. I hope this made sense. I hope it helps somebody. And yeah, love y'all. Bye.